Welcome, my Zentangle friends. You're on Zen with Emmy, and I'm Emmy, and I'm so glad to be here with you today. Where I am, it's a hot summer day, so it is definitely perfect for a short, wonderful video with good ideas. And what my suggestion always with our grab and go summer shorts is to watch the video, grab your materials, and head for some cool place, and then take your time with the whole of it in whatever way you want. So I've already grabbed a tile, and that's just a piece of paper. My paper is 4x4 or 10 centimeters. And I'm going to put pencil dots in the corner, and then I'm going to connect them very lightly, wonky style, like this. This just helps me create a border. It's suggested by Zentangle. I don't always use it, but it can be mighty helpful. Here's where we're going. We're going to use Knightsbridge, and there is no up or down, so this is pure Zentangle. This is Knightsbridge in here and just hearts on the outside, and I never heard a name for this pattern, this border pattern, but I thought it was so cool I'd do it. And I've got this example too, in case you wanted to do it a different way. So again, this is something very simple. Here's another version of it. Just a very fun thing to do. This is probably mine. This one is pretty small. That's on a 3x4 almost. And this is quite a bit larger on the same size I have. So mine will end up larger. So now that we're started and you have yourself a smallish oval in the middle and you have your dots, let's go ahead and put a lot of hearts all the way around here. We'll do that first. And you're welcome to do your hearts in pen or in pencil, whatever feels right to you. I like to do some up, some down, some different shapes. Just fill up the whole outside region with hearts. And that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now with my hearts is I'm going to go back and clean them up a little bit. There's two things I want to do to clean that up. I'm going to make this little line that replicates my heart because that just gives it a finished look. And I'm also going to go in each one and make a little bit of flare that darkens in here, and it just gives it a finished look. So let's get started, and I will meet you here in a few minutes. And there we are. Isn't that sweet? Okay, you're welcome to add more hearts and just have them angled all the way out. Remember, always, we are not going for perfection. We're going for progress. We're just going to make our work look a little bit nicer wherever we can. We always, of course, we do our best, but just know that, like I've told you before, Mary Poppins does not live here. So let's just have fun in the sun today. I like to make those little tails, almost like they're balloons that are angling off, and wanted to add a little of those now. So, all right. So now that I'm here, I'm going to start putting I call it a whirlpool because that's how it seems to me, and make this go round and round and round. But to start off, I'm going to put the ribs in. And my ribs start with a straight line here and a straight line here. And the next thing I want to do, and actually I want to do it the other direction, I'm going to make my ribs go on an angle all the way around. That one's just kind of going into space. So's this. Put your ribs into wherever, just going behind. Now it's easy to add more in if you feel that they're too wide at a future time. And I'll show you how to do that too, because I'm pretty sure that's going to happen to me. And that's why my mantra is progress, not perfection, same as my child taught me. And that's her mantra. I'd love to hear what yours is. If you feel like you could text me. And special shout out to the people who are giving me comments and letting me know that you like what we're doing and having fun together. So I'm going to make these ribs, and now I'm going to close them in a circular fashion. And it really doesn't matter if it's wider here and narrower here, but that's the way my logical mind is going today. It has a bit of a bow down all the way around. Tighter at the top. It's wonderful because you can just stop at any point that you feel like you are losing control of your circle. See, I can just lift my pen anytime. Some of these are going to be going behind, especially down here it looks like. So I just have to go behind and have an illusion where they're going to be. Once you've got those ribs in, now we're going to take the time to darken every other one. Now I would suggest you use a thicker pen. And so I'm going to use my 005, and I am going to need a mint on this, I can tell you right now. Here's what's tricky. Doing every other one. So lots of times what I do when I'm not sure that I'm going to remember is I put a dot in the ones, and I want to darken like this, alternate. So I put a dot in the ones that I'm going to darken. Although if I decide I want to do it differently, it is very easy to let that be my pattern and darken the other one. I don't know if you heard noise in the background, but it's summertime and I have my grandgirls, and they are trying their best to be quiet for Grandma Maji, they call me. Rich calls me Emmy. Most of my friends call me Emmy, but they call me Grandma Maji. One word. So, pleased to meet you. I'm sure your kids, your loved ones have funny names for you. And I'm sure you're thinking of that while we're working here together. We'll get these dots in. And then we'll get started with some zone and some Zen time. Oh, I almost did it. Well, it will work out okay. Got my zone on too soon here. Oh, brother. Alrighty. So, as I mentioned, I'm using my thicker pen. And you can work on this in whatever order you choose. So go ahead and darken these. And whether you decide to go round and then down or whatever, Get your zone on, and I will see you in a minute. Look over what you did. I finished my candy while I was working, getting my Zen on. I hope you were able to also. You can see another little one over here. So I'd like to get that cool border I showed you. Again, I don't have a name for it. If somebody does, you know I'm always interested in giving credit where it's due. And I'm going to just go back to my 01 pen, and I'm going to do this border. I just think this is so pretty and just cute. And there's more room on this one than there is on that one. That was a smaller paper. So this is what I do. I make a big S. I make a second S. Then I'm going to come back a little bit. Just as you can see, it's just what people call a smidge, I think. And I go around it and I darken it in like this. Just a smidge. But it ends up with that really cool look. And then the other end back here, same, just back a smidge like that. Darken in the orb. Oh, you're welcome to add 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm starting here, and I'm going to make an orb around it. Starting tight again, and then make another orb around it. It's so cute, isn't it? So now you might be able to see this better. Make an orb and tight, tight, loosen. And then what I'm going to do for the rest of this is I'm going to put my S's, my double S's, all the way around. And then I'm going to come back and do that treatment that I just there. Now that I've got all my S's on, I'm going to go back and do this other part. Start again anywhere you like. Back a smidge and an orb. Back a smidge and an orb. If you're like me and you just want to go around and do all of that first, and then come back and do each individually, whatever process it works for your mind. So the fun part about the grab and go is that you will have an easy time sharing this with somebody, or in other words, you'll be able to just teach them on the job training. Look at this one's going to overlap. Let's see how this is going to work out. This is not planned, but I think it's going to be fine, and you may run into that too. So I'm really glad that happened that way. They're just kissing. I think it's cute. It's just fine. Get this one a little closer to me. Put that kind of a hat on there. Darken it in. Be sure to leave that little bit of neck. Tight, around, and back tight again, and then another one. Very forgiving pattern. Have you noticed that? And I think the drama, the darkening, replicates what we have going on in here. I think they're so cute. I hope you do too. And I hope you've been having some real fun summertime experiences. Lots of excitement going on. Or maybe it's quiet at your house, which is very pleasant also. Cute. Like a safety pin almost, isn't it? Would you describe it that way? That's kind of open. I can't fit two on that one, I don't think. So I want to get some shading on here. And I have a 4B pencil, my Zentangle pencil, but any pencil you have handy. So the first place I want to shade is in here, in this Knightsbridge pattern. I'm not going to bother to shade the black. It will just make things shiny. And I'm really only going to do one side of the white area of the checkerboard. I'm not going to bother to do all the sides. It really will not show up anyway. And I just want to heighten or make it more pronounced. That's what shading's all about anyway. I want them to make it more pronounced where the line is separating each of these. So if you've watched me before, you will know that I like to get all of my shading on, and then I go with my blender stump or my Q-tip or whatever I have handy and lay it on. You know, this also allows me the opportunity to see if I have done anything here, any mistakes, anything that doesn't work or looks wonky, too wonky. Because this is a wonky pattern, isn't it a hoot? I love this pattern. I've been wanting to do this with you for some time. That's it. Okay, now I would like to do one side of the heart like this. You see, I'm trying to lay on a very thick bit of shading. And then I'm also laying a little bit into the area where I already made the fold line. I can go back and add more, and this kind of depends on the pen you're using and the kind of paper you have too, how it's going to show up or not. So I really just want one of the lobes shaded, of the heart lobes. And then when I smudge it out, I will have a good blend of light and dark. I hope. That's my plan. I really am not going to shade this outside border. I really can't see how I can improve it at all. But I am going to come in here, get a little shading. Spread that graphite out. But again, like I mentioned before, stay away from the black. It really doesn't shade. I want to smudge this out. See how I'm really pushing that out? One lobe is really quite full of shade. And if I have to go back and add another layer, that will be fine. If you find you have too much shade on your blender stump, you can just turn your page over or grab another one and just smudge it off like that and get the extra shading so that you don't want it all gray. That really isn't going to be it isn't going to look good. You just want to highlight this. I think this is coming out really, really pretty. Can't wait to see it. I love it. I love it. I do. I hope you do too. Isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So, if you haven't already, grab your pen, put your initials on here in some place. Supposed to be unobtrusive, not obvious. And I can't wait to see you again next week for another grab and go session. Thanks for being here. Bye.